You did the hard part. You saved your first $10,000. You ignored purchases you wanted. You watched the number grow slowly. You probably had months where an unexpected bill pushed you backward, and you had to build it again. And then, one day, you opened your banking app and saw 5 digits. For most people, that moment feels like proof. Proof that you are finally responsible with money, proof that you are no longer living paycheck to paycheck, proof that you are doing what every financial expert told you to do. But this is where responsible savers often make their next mistake. They leave every dollar sitting in the same account, doing the same job for years. The habit that protected them begins slowing them down. Now, let me be clear. This video is not telling you to empty your savings account, throw everything into the stock market, or take risks you do not understand. When I say stop saving, I mean stop treating every dollar like it has the same purpose. Your first $10,000 should not be one pile of money. It should become a system with 4 different jobs: safety, protection, growth, and opportunity. And the final job is the one most people completely ignore. It can determine how quickly you reach your next $10,000. Before we decide where your money should go, we need to understand why keeping everything in one account feels so safe. Imagine 2 people. Both have saved $10,000. The first person leaves the entire amount in a basic savings account indefinitely. They keep contributing whenever they can, but they are afraid to do anything else. They believe that as long as the number never falls, they are making progress. The second person does something different. They do not immediately invest everything. They first decide what each part of the money needs to accomplish. Some of it must protect them from emergencies. Some of it must eliminate expensive financial problems. Some of it can begin growing over the long term. And some of it can be used to increase their future income. Both people started with the same amount, but one has a balance, the other has a financial system. That difference may look small today. Over several years, it can change almost every financial decision they are able to make. The problem with keeping all your money in one place is not that cash is bad. Cash is extremely useful. The problem is giving cash a job it was never designed to perform. Cash is excellent at being available. It is excellent at paying for a car repair, covering rent after a job loss, or handling an emergency without forcing you to borrow money. But cash is not designed to be your only long-term wealth-building tool. At the same time, investments are designed for long-term growth, but they are terrible emergency funds. Their value can move, sometimes sharply. And if you need the money during a bad month in the market, you may be forced to sell at exactly the wrong time. So you do not have to choose between safety and growth. You build them separately. This is the $10,000 job switch, the moment when your money stops being one number and begins performing 4 different functions. The first job is your safety floor. Your safety floor is the money that keeps one unexpected event from turning into a financial crisis. This money should be accessible. It should not depend on the stock market being up. It should not require selling an asset, waiting for a buyer, or using a credit card. Its purpose is not to make you rich. Its purpose is to prevent one bad week from destroying several good years. How large should that floor be? There is no universal number that works for everyone. Someone with stable income, low expenses, good insurance, and 2 earners in the household may need a different amount than someone who is self-employed, supports children, or works in an unstable industry. Instead of asking, what percentage of my $10,000 should stay in cash? Ask a better question. How many months could my life continue if my income stopped tomorrow? Start with your essential monthly expenses: housing, food, utilities, insurance, transportation, minimum debt payments, not your ideal lifestyle. The cost of keeping your life functioning. Then consider how difficult your income would be to replace. A person in a high-demand profession may find another position quickly. A freelancer with unpredictable contracts may need a much larger runway. Your safety floor is not based only on expenses. It is based on vulnerability. Imagine your essential expenses are $2,500 per month. If you decide that you need 3 months of protection, your initial safety floor would be $7,500. That does not mean everyone should use that exact number. It means you now have a logical reason for keeping that portion in cash. The money is no longer sitting there because you are afraid. It is sitting there because it has a specific job. And once that job is fully funded, continuing to add money to it forever may no longer be your highest value move. This is the point many savers never reach mentally. They become addicted to watching the cash balance grow because the number feels stable. But stability is not the same as progress. A safety floor should eventually become a target, not an endless destination. The second job is your protection shield. This is the money that prevents known financial problems from destroying your future growth. Before you start thinking about what your money could earn, look at what your money is already losing. Do you have high-interest credit card debt? Are there important repairs you know are coming? Are you one insurance deductible away from using debt? Do you have an annual expense that surprises you every year, even though it happens every year? These are not random emergencies. They are predictable financial leaks, and a return you might earn cannot reliably outrun a cost you are already paying. Imagine someone invests $2,000 because they are excited to start building wealth, but they are also carrying credit card debt at a very high interest rate. Their investment may rise. It may fall. The interest on the debt keeps charging them. That is not growth. That is trying to fill a bucket while the bottom is still leaking. Your protection shield can be used to reduce expensive debt, prepare for necessary repairs, cover deductibles, and create small sinking funds for predictable expenses. This part of the system is less exciting than investing. That is exactly why people skip it. Investing feels like moving forward. Paying off a balance or preparing for a future bill feels like cleaning up the past. But eliminating a guaranteed financial drag can be one of the strongest uses of your money. It also changes your psychology. When you know your car registration, insurance premium, or medical deductible already has money assigned to it, you stop treating every normal expense like a surprise. Your finances become quieter, and quiet finances are easier to manage consistently. At this point, you may be noticing something. Your original $10,000 might not leave much money for investing yet. That is possible. And it does not mean you failed. It means the number showed you the truth about your financial foundation. For one person, most of the first $10,000 may need to remain in the safety floor. For another, the biggest priority may be eliminating high-interest debt. For someone with low expenses, stable employment, no expensive debt, and an existing emergency reserve, much more of it may be ready for growth. The purpose of this framework is not to force everyone into the same percentages. It is to make sure every dollar has a defensible reason for being where it is. And once your floor is built and the major leaks are controlled, one important question remains. How much of your money is finally allowed to move? That brings us to the third job, your growth engine. This is the money you do not expect to need soon. Its purpose is not to handle next month's rent or next year's car repair. Its purpose is to remain invested long enough to participate in long-term growth. And this is where beginners often make one of two mistakes. The first mistake is never starting. They keep reading, comparing, researching, and waiting for the perfect moment. They want to know which investment will produce the highest return, whether the market is about to fall, and whether they should wait until conditions feel safer. Conditions rarely feel completely safe. When markets rise, people worry they are buying too high. When markets fall, they worry prices will continue falling. The perfect moment exists mostly in hindsight. The second mistake is moving too aggressively. They save for years and then suddenly transfer nearly everything into investments because they are afraid they started too late. Now, every market movement feels personal. A normal decline feels like a threat to their security because they invested money that was still mentally connected to emergencies. The solution is not prediction. It is separation. Money inside the safety floor does not need to care what the market does this month. Money inside the growth engine does not need to solve next month's problems. Different jobs, different timelines. For many beginners, the growth engine should be simple, diversified, low cost, and designed for the long term. The goal is not to prove that you can outsmart professional investors. The goal is to build ownership consistently without turning your financial life into a second job. But here is the part that matters more than the initial amount. Your future contributions will probably matter more than what you do with the first $10,000. The first $10,000 creates the structure. Your paychecks keep powering it. Imagine you place a reasonable portion into your growth engine, but then never contribute again. You have started, but the system is not really running. Now, imagine you begin with a smaller amount and automate a contribution every payday. Month after month, the process continues. Sometimes the market is high, sometimes it is low, but your system keeps buying ownership over time. The habit becomes more important than the original decision. This is why your first $10,000 is not the finish line. It is the moment you stop asking, "How much money have I saved?" and begin asking, "What system will direct every future dollar?" Before we move to the final job, take a second and look at your own money. Is all of it still doing one job, or have you already separated safety from growth? Tell me in the comments which stage you are currently in: building the floor, fixing leaks, or starting to invest. The fourth job is your opportunity fund. This is the most overlooked part of the system. Most financial plans divide money into only two categories: money you spend and money you invest. But there is a third use that can sometimes produce enormous long-term value: money that increases your ability to earn. Your opportunity fund might pay for a certification that qualifies you for a better position. It might cover equipment that allows you to take freelance clients. It might fund a short course, a portfolio, a move to a stronger job market, professional licensing, or a small experiment in a service business. This does not mean spending thousands of dollars on every course advertised online. It does not mean calling every purchase an investment in yourself. An opportunity fund needs standards. The opportunity should solve a clear problem. It should connect to a realistic path toward higher income, and you should be able to explain exactly what action becomes possible after spending the money. I want to learn something interesting is not a financial plan. This certification qualifies me for positions that pay more, and I have confirmed employers are hiring for it is much stronger. The reason this job matters is simple. Cutting expenses has a floor. There is only so much you can remove from your life. Income has more room to expand. The person who saves $300 per month can improve their finances. The person who increases their income and keeps their lifestyle controlled can transform them. This is how the Opportunity Fund can accelerate the next $10,000. The first $10,000 may have required discipline, sacrifice, and patience. The second can arrive faster because the first one helped you build a stronger income engine. That could mean investing in skills. It could mean keeping enough cash available to leave a bad job and search for a better one. It could mean having the ability to say no to low-paying work because you are no longer desperate. This is where money begins creating optionality, not luxury. Options. The option to wait for a better offer. The option to relocate. The option to take a calculated career risk. The option to handle a family problem without immediately going into debt. And now, the entire system begins working together. The safety floor protects your life. The protection shield removes expensive weaknesses. The growth engine builds long-term ownership. The opportunity fund increases your future earning power. But a financial system is only real when it survives a bad month. So, let us stress test it. Imagine the market falls sharply. At the same time, your employer announces layoffs. You lose your income while your investments are temporarily down. If you invested nearly all your cash, you now have a problem. You may need to sell investments at a loss to pay your bills. You did not sell because you changed your long-term strategy. You sold because your short-term life forced you to. Now imagine the same situation with the four-job system. Your safety floor covers essential expenses. Your protection shield has already reduced expensive debt and prepared for predictable costs. Your growth engine can remain invested because it is not responsible for next month's rent. And your opportunity fund gives you resources to search, retrain, relocate, or create another source of income. The market still fell. Losing your job still hurts. The system does not make life painless. It keeps pain from turning into panic. That distinction is everything. People often believe wealth means never experiencing problems. Real financial strength means problems do not automatically control your decisions. You are not forced to take the first terrible job offer because rent is due next week. You are not forced to put a car repair on a credit card. You are not forced to sell a long-term investment during a temporary decline. You have time, and time changes the quality of your decisions. Think about the two people who started with $10,000. The first person protected the number. They watched it carefully, but they never decided what the money was meant to accomplish. The second person built a floor, removed financial leaks, started acquiring long-term assets, and created room for future opportunities. Neither became rich overnight, but only one of them changed what money could do. That is the real purpose of your first $10,000. It was never supposed to make you look wealthy. It was supposed to stop one bad month from controlling your next 5 years. It was supposed to turn emergencies into manageable problems. It was supposed to give your future paychecks direction. It was supposed to help you move from survival to ownership. So, open your accounts this week and look at every dollar you have saved. Do not immediately move anything. First, assign the jobs. How much money forms your safety floor? Which financial leak needs your protection shield? What amount can remain invested for the long term without being needed for emergencies? And what opportunity could realistically increase your future income? Your first $10,000 was proof that you can save. What you do next decides whether that money remains a number or becomes a system. Tell me in the comments which job your money is missing right now: safety, protection, growth, or opportunity. And subscribe, because in the next video, we are going to build the automatic system that directs every paycheck into these 4 jobs, so your second $10,000 can arrive faster than the first. Your savings got you here. Your system decides where you go next.